Good afternoon, all of you. The topic is high altitude physiology. So, what happens when we ascend to high altitude? At 10,000 feet altitude, there is usually no symptoms of hypoxia because body can easily acclimatize to the oxygen lack. Therefore, high altitude is classically defined as an altitude in excess of 10,000 feet. At altitude of 18,000 feet, it is the highest altitude at which permanent inhabitation is possible. Above 12,000 feet altitude, hypoxia, it can endanger life unless oxygen is added from outside to the inhaled air. At altitude of about 35,000 feet, there is commonly fly the modern aircrafts. So, the use of pressurized cabin in these aircrafts help to provide an environment that is similar to that of the sea level. Above 40,000 feet altitude, their ozone layer starts. Composition of air and effect of altitude. Composition of air does not change with the altitude. It means composition of atmosphere remain constant from sea level to about 30,000 feet. Now come to the barometric pressure and partial pressure of gases. Barometric pressure at sea level is 760 mmHg and it falls progressively with increase in height. As decrease in total pressure of air at increasing altitude, partial pressure of gases changes. This table shows the barometric pressure, partial pressure of oxygen and common effect of different altitude. At sea level, you can see the barometric pressure is 760 mmHg and alveolar air, that is oxygen, partial pressure of oxygen in 104 mmHg. At 5,000 feet, barometric pressure is 630 mmHg and partial pressure of oxygen, alveolar oxygen is 80 mmHg and there is no effect. At 10,000 feet, the partial barometric pressure is 520 mmHg and alveolar air partial pressure of oxygen is 60 mmHg. Usually there is no symptom except at night there may be some reduction in vision. The stages of hypoxia, it is the stage of indifference. We will discuss later. The rapid ascent up to 10,000 feet is safe zone of ascent. High altitude in excess of 10,000 feet is classified as high altitude and no hypoxia up to the partial pressure of oxygen is 60 mmHg. At 15,000 feet, the barometric pressure is 480 mmHg and there is effect of hypoxia in the form of severe and respiratory symptoms and there is a stage of reaction at altitude of 10,000 to 15,000 feet and moderate hypoxic symptom due to low partial pressure of oxygen. At 18,000 feet, the barometric pressure is 400 mmHg and the effect of hypoxia plus there is involvement of CNS and there is the stage of disturbance. There is severe hypoxia as partial pressure of oxygen decreases and it needs to be treated with oxygen therapy. At 20,000 feet, there is the barometric pressure is 350 mmHg and there the CNS involvement aggravate and the stage of disturbance aggravate, unconsciousness occur and hemoglobin saturation fall below 60%. At 30,000 feet, the barometric pressure is 226 mmHg and there is severe hypoxic symptoms and it is critical stage. Survival is not possible without oxygen therapy. At 40,000 feet, the barometric pressure is 140 mmHg and it is called critical survival altitude. Now come to the hypoxia at high altitude. Effect of hypoxia produced by decreasing oxygen concentration at high altitude depends on the level of altitude, the rate at which hypoxia develops. It means whether hypoxia developed due to rapid ascent or acute hypoxia or slow ascent, that is subacute hypoxia. Duration of exposure to hypoxia is also important, whether short term stay or long term stay. Barometric pressure and partial pressure of oxygen at different altitude and its effect on the body. The barometric pressure, partial pressure of oxygen and common effect at different altitude, as we have discussed earlier. The stages of hypoxia are: first is the stage of indifference. It has 4 stages. One is the stage of indifference, second is the stage of reaction, and third is the stage of disturbance. So first is the stage of indifference. It is characterized by the no symptoms of hypoxia as partial pressure of oxygen remain above 60 mmHg and it occur up to 10,000 feet altitude. The second is the stage of reaction. It starts above 10,000 feet altitude and it is characterized by moderate hypoxia up to 15,000 feet altitude and the partial pressure is 40 to 60 mmHg of oxygen. The symptoms included are: there may be tachycardia, hypertension, and cardiovascular involvement is there. The respiratory involvement is there. There is increased ventilation, increased pulmonary ventilation. The early CNS involvement in the form of impaired judgment, feeling of overconfidence, talkativeness, reduction in visual acuity and others. Now third is the stage of disturbance. It occurs when the partial pressure of oxygen decreases to 30 to 40 mmHg. It occurs usually between the 15,000 to 20,000 feet altitude and it is in it there is severe hypoxia and the CNS involvement is aggravated and O2 therapy is needed. Clinical syndromes caused by high altitude. There are 3 specific entities that occur due to effect of low partial pressure of oxygen at high altitude are: first is the high altitude pulmonary edema, second is the acute mountain sickness and third is the chronic mountain sickness. Now come to the first, that is high altitude pulmonary edema. It occurs due to rapid ascent to high altitude, that is above 10,000 feet. It is usually seen in the individual who are engaged in heavy physical work during the first 3 to 4 days after rapid ascent to the high altitude due to sympathetic stimulation that is caused by the hypoxia. Now mechanism of development of high altitude pulmonary edema. It does not develop in individual who ascend slowly to high altitude and those who avoid physical exertion for the first few days. So mechanism is, it is due to sympathetic activity that is increased by the physical work over and above the, that is increased by the hypoxia. So it produces vasoconstriction that leads to increase in the pulmonary capillary hydrostatic pressure. Normally what happens, pulmonary capillary hydrostatic pressure is less than 10 mmHg and osmotic pressure is 25 mmHg, that help in keeping the alveoli dry. This increased pulmonary capillary hydrostatic pressure drive the fluid out of the pulmonary capillaries and producing pulmonary edema. When hypoxia is very severe, this generalized edema may develop by the similar mechanism. Now characteristics of high altitude pulmonary edema. It responds to rest and oxygen therapy, as it occurs due to aggravation of hypoxia, and it is not due to any cardiovascular or respiratory diseases, and it is also associated with increased pulmonary artery pressure. So it responds to calcium channel blockers such as nifedipine, as nifedipine lower the pulmonary artery pressure. Now second is the acute mountain sickness. In this, there is symptoms occur due to ascent to high altitude over a period of 1 to 2 days for the first time. Symptoms usually develop after 8 to 24 hours after arrival at high altitude and last for 4 to 8 days. There is headache, nausea, vomiting, irritability, insomnia and breathlessness. The cause of acute mountain sickness, it is usually associated with cerebral edema or alkalosis. What is the mechanism of cerebral edema? The low partial pressure of oxygen at high altitude causes dilatation of arteriole, and which is normally compensated by cerebral autoregulation. However, once limit of cerebral autoregulatory mechanism is reached, there occur an increase in the capillary pressure that causes increased transudation of fluid into the brain tissue and hence cerebral edema. What is the treatment? It is decreasing cerebral edema can be decreased by the administration of glucocorticoid and acetazolamide. Acetazolamide, what it causes? Decreased hydrogen ion excretion through the kidney by inhibiting the enzyme carbonic anhydrase. Now third is the chronic mountain sickness. It is also called Monge's disease. It occurs in long-term resident of high altitude and who develop extreme polycythemia, cyanosis, malaise, fatigue and exercise intolerance. It may be removed to lower altitude to prevent development of fatal pulmonary edema. Physiological compensatory response to high altitude hypoxia. Two types of physiological compensatory mechanisms occur in individuals that exposed to the high altitude hypoxia. First is the accommodation and second is the acclimatization. Now come to the first, that is accommodation. It refers to the immediate reflex adjustment of the respiratory and cardiovascular system to hypoxia. In this, first included hyperventilation. It occurs secondary to stimulation of the peripheral chemoreceptor, that is stimulated by the low oxygen tension in the arterial blood. This increased ventilation is compensated by increased partial pressure of oxygen and reducing partial pressure of carbon dioxide. This reduced partial pressure of carbon dioxide causes respiratory alkalosis that lowers the respiratory drive. This alkalosis is corrected by either active regulation of CSF pH, that is or by active regulation of blood pH. The second is tachycardia. It occurs as peripheral chemoreceptor responds to low arterial oxygen tension. It increases oxygen delivery to the tissue by increasing cardiac output. If any individual who goes to the high altitude, the cardiac output return to normal after several weeks. Third is the increase 2,3-diphosphoglycerate concentration. In RBC, in response to hypoxia and alkalosis, there occur increase in the 2,3-DPG concentration. This increased 2,3-DPG concentration raises the P50 of hemoglobin and it helps to maintain the oxygen tension at slightly higher level than it would be. Now second compensatory response is acclimatization. It refers to the change in body tissue in response to long-term exposure to hypoxia, such as when a person who lives at sea level goes and stays at high altitude for a long time. With longer stay, the person gradually gets acclimatized to low partial pressure of oxygen and the following changes occur in the body tissue. First is the increase in the red blood cell count or polycythemia. It is secondary to the tissue hypoxia that results from the release of the renal erythropoietin, and erythropoietin stimulates the production of RBC by the bone marrow. This leads to increase in the hemoglobin concentration, and it also increases the hematocrit from 40 to 45% up to 60%, and increase in the blood volume also occur by 20 to 30%, and these changes allow each unit of blood to carry additional oxygen. So increase in hemoglobin and blood volume start after 2 weeks and it reaches half development in a month and fully developed only after many months. Second, increase in pulmonary ventilation. When any individual stay at high altitude for many days, there is gradual increase in ventilation to average of about 5 times normal. This is because of loss of breaking point of CO2 due to renal correction of alkalosis, leading to decreased bicarbonate ion concentration in CSF and brain tissue. Third is the cardiovascular changes in the form of increased heart rate, increased force of contraction, and increased cardiac output. Later on, it decreases back to normal once the oxygen supply of the tissue becomes normal due to change in the blood. Now, pulmonary hypertension. It is due to secondary to the generalized hypoxic pulmonary vasoconstriction, and the increased pulmonary artery pressure causes more even distribution of the pulmonary blood flow, which improve gas exchange. The elevated pulmonary artery pressure can also induce cor pulmonale if hypoxia is very severe. Increase in total lung capacity and diffusion capacity of the lung. It also occurs in high altitude native. The increase in total lung capacity is evidenced by the enlarged chest and that high altitude natives develop. Diffusing capacity of lung increases due to increase in the surface area of the respiratory membrane, and this hypoxia increases pulmonary ventilation leading to increase in the lung volume, which expand the surface area of the alveolar membrane, and pulmonary hypertension forces blood into greater number of alveolar capillaries than normal, especially in the upper part of the lung, which are poorly perfused. Sixth is the cellular and tissue acclimatization. It occurs after a long stay at high altitude, and there is increase in the oxidative enzyme concentration within the mitochondria of many tissue, which allow more rapid generation of ATP via oxidative phosphorylation. There is increase in the mitochondrial density within the cell, and it reduces the diffusion distance and provide more site for oxygen utilization. There is also increase in the capillary density in skeletal and cardiac muscles, which reduces the diffusion distance from the blood into the cells. Seventh is the decreased respiratory drive. It is caused by the lifelong or prolonged exposure to hypoxia. The reduced respiratory drive leads to higher CO2 tension and lower oxygen tension, and it diminishes the work of respiration, which reserves more oxygen for the use by the other skeletal muscle. Eighth is the work capacity. At high altitude, that is 6,000 meter, the work capacity of unacclimatized person is 50% as that at the sea level. So acclimatization about 2 months improve the work capacity to approximately 70% of the normal. The permanent residents of high altitude are so well acclimatized that their physical efficiency is almost similar to resident at sea level. This is the table that shows the difference between an acclimatized and unacclimatized person at high altitude. Now, pulmonary ventilation. In high altitude natives, that is acclimatized person, it is more, and those in unacclimatized person, it is less. And chest is enlarged and barrel shaped in high altitude natives, and those who newcomers to high altitude, in this there is no change in the size of the chest, and there is less alveolar ventilation and less functional residual capacity. Response to hypoxic stimulation. In high altitude natives, there is more, and there is hypocapnic alkalosis is less and urine is alkaline. In unacclimatized person, there is response to hypoxic stimulation is less, therefore urine is acidic. RBC count is more in acclimatized person and it is low in unacclimatized person. Affinity of hemoglobin for oxygen, it is less in high altitude acclimatized person and it is more in unacclimatized person. Vascularity of the organ is more in acclimatized person and less in unacclimatized person. Tissue changes. At tissue level, there is increase in oxidative enzyme, myoglobin content and number of mitochondria in acclimatized person. and it is comparatively less in unacclimatized person. This is all about the high altitude physiology. Thank you.